that should be avoided. It is permissible for women, the weak, and the children to leave for Mina at the end of the night. After the pilgrim performs the Fajr prayer, it is recommended for him to stand at Al-Mash'ar al-Haram, or he can stand anywhere at Muzdalifah. It is recommendable for the pilgrim to face the Qibla and continue remembering Allah, making takbir and supplicating to Allah with whatever invocations and supplications that come to his mind. Then the pilgrim is to pick the pebbles for stoning the jamras, meaning the stoning sites. There are 7 pebbles that are bigger in size than chickpeas in order to throw pebbles at the first stoning site of Jamratul Aqaba. The remaining pebbles for other jamras are to be picked from Mina. When the pilgrim reaches Mina, he is to head for Jamratul Aqaba, which is the closest stoning site to Mecca. When he reaches Jamratul Aqaba, he is to stop saying Talbiyah, then stone Jamratul Aqaba with 7 pebbles consecutively, saying Takbir while throwing each pebble. Then, the pilgrim is to slaughter the hadi, meaning the sacrificial animal, eat from it, and feed the poor. Then he is to either have his hair shaved or cut, and shaving is better. And the woman is to cut an amount equal to the size of a thumbprint of her hair. Performing the rituals of Hajj according to this order is better for the pilgrim. However, if he does some rituals before others, there is no blame on him in doing that. The days of At-Tashriq, Tawaf al-Ifada, and Tawaf al-Wada'. Muslims all over the world, as well as the pilgrims at Mina, receive Al-Adha feast with joy and cheerfulness with what Allah has conferred on them of His favors, and they are to slaughter their sacrificial animals to draw nearer to Allah. It is noteworthy in this context that the pilgrim will find helpful the project established by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for making use of the meats of the sacrificed animals slaughtered as hadi or udhiyah. It is noticeable that when the pilgrims throw the pebbles, some of them fall in mistakes. One of the mistakes is that some pilgrims think they stone devils. So they become enraged and start insulting those devils while throwing the pebbles at the stoning sites. It is well known that stoning has been only ordained for stating the remembrance of Allah. Another mistake is stoning the sites with the big pebbles or pieces of wood, for this is an exaggeration in religion forbidden by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Among the mistakes committed by some pilgrims is crowding together and vying with one another at the places of the stoning sites so as to throw pebbles at them. And this is of course a big mistake. It is obligatory for the pilgrim to be gentle to his fellow Muslims, and he should be eager to throw his pebbles inside the circle surrounding the post without regard as to whether it hits the post or not. A common mistake is throwing all the pebbles at once. What is permissible in this regard is throwing them one after another and saying takbir while throwing each pebble. After the pilgrim stones the first post of Al-Aqaba and has his hair shaved or cut, then he has reached the first tahallul, meaning the first release, and then he is permitted to wear his clothes, and all the lawful matters prohibited for him because of ihram are permitted except for intimate relations with his wife. Then the pilgrim is to go to Mecca to perform Tawaf al-Ifada, the going forth circumambulation, which is one of the pillars of Hajj, without which the Hajj is void. Then the pilgrim is to perform sa'i, and if he is performing tamattu', or if he has not performed it together with Tawaf al-Qudum, meaning arrival circumambulation, in case he is performing ifrad or qiran. It is worth mentioning in this regard that the pilgrim is permitted to postpone Tawaful Ifadah until after completing the days of Mina and returning to Mecca after finishing the stoning of Jamras. After the pilgrim finishes Tawaful Ifadah on the day of Nahr, meaning the day of slaughtering, or the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, then the pilgrim performs Tawaful Ifadah on the day of Nahr. All the prohibited matters because of Ihram are now permissible for him, including intimate relations. The pilgrim is to return to Mina to spend the night there during the days of Tashriq. The days of Tashriq are the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th days of Dhul Hijjah. Or he can only spend 2 nights if he has intended to hasten to leave in compliance with Allah's statement, and remember Allah during the appointed days. But whosoever hastens to leave in 2 days, there is no sin on him, and whosoever stays on, there is no sin on him. And if his aim is to do good and obey Allah, and know that you will surely be gathered unto him. It is obligatory for the pilgrim to stone the 3 Jamras in the afternoon during the days he spends at Mina, and he is to say takbir while throwing each pebble. It is an act of the Sunnah to stand after stoning the smallest and medium Jamras, meaning the stoning sites, facing the Qibla and spreading out his hands. Then he is to supplicate Allah, asking him for whatever he wants. However, while stoning Jamratul Aqaba, the pilgrim should not stand to supplicate Allah after it. Whoever wants to hasten to leave in 2 days, he should stone the 3 Jamras on the 12th day at the afternoon. Then the pilgrim is to leave Mina before the sunset. But if he remains at Mina after the sun sets, he should spend the night on the 13th day of Dhul Hijjah, unless he has intended to hasten. For in this case, he can leave and is not obligated to stay at Mina. Then the journey of Hajj proceeds to Mecca once again, so as to practice the farewell circumambulation around the sacred house, meaning Tawaful Wada'. And by doing that, the journey of Hajj is about to come to an end. After the multitudes of pilgrims finish the performance of the rituals of Hajj, the pillars, the obligations, and the recommendable actions, they consummate their rituals with the farewell circumambulation in compliance with the hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ states, "None of you should leave the sacred territories until he visits the house as his last action." Tawaful Wada' is the last of the obligations that the pilgrim should do directly before traveling back to his homeland. None is to be exonerated from the Tawaful Wada' except for the woman in a state of menstruation or postnatal bleeding. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, may Allah have mercy on him, said, when the pilgrim who has finished performing Hajj or Umrah returns to his country, he should recall the rituals of Hajj that he has practiced every time his soul calls him to commit an act of disobedience. He should recall his standing at Arafah Mount, his circumambulation around the house, and the statements of dhikr that he made in the different places of Hajj, for that helps him avoid committing sins. I supplicate to Allah for all pilgrims to have their Hajj accepted by Allah, their sins forgiven by Him, and to have their endeavor blessed by Him. He has power over all things. O Allah, confer your peace and blessings upon our leader, the Prophet Muhammad, his household and companions. The way of visiting the prophetic mosque. It is recommendable for the pilgrim to visit Medina, the city to which the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, migrated, and to pay a visit to the prophetic mosque, which is one of the mosques that one is permitted to set out for a journey to visit. The Prophet ﷺ stated, it is not permitted to set out on a journey to visit any mosque except for 3 mosques.